Welcome to another episode of the Doctors Building Wealth podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Kenji and my new book. It's called Life on Your Terms. And Kenji's probably laughing because we just had a discussion just now about how we should talk about this book since I wrote all of it. And he's also my author. And the reason he's my author is a lot of this, the ideas, a lot of the concepts, all of it really were created by both of us through this journey investing in real estate. So even though I wrote the words, I got to say, this is a joint venture of a book, and we're really excited to be talking about it today.
That's right. I'm going to take credit because this is our story. There's a lot of things in here, not just actually just about us, but also about our community as well, which is really fun.
So let's jump right in and talk about this because, as you'll find, life on your terms, like Kenji just alluded to, is a fable. And we've interwoven some stories, a lot of Kenji's story, but also stories from our community members to make it a little bit more interesting and fun. So our team gave us a couple questions to answer to talk to you guys all about life on your terms. And then we'll add in some nuggets here and there that we also wanted to be able to make sure to touch on.
So let me ask the questions, right? So first question is, what inspired you to write Life on Your Terms?
So the real reason we wrote this book is to get this information out there in a much broader perspective. We read a lot of books, and it's so inspiring to read a book and then take that information and go take action with it. A lot of you know that our journey really started after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and then just getting really inspired, really excited, but also educated to be able to go then read other real estate investing books and then put them into action.
And the other thing is, if you think about it, Rich Dad Poor Dad is written like a fable.
Right. And so that makes it so much more fun and engaging. I don't know how much truth there is to the actual story of Rich Dad Poor Dad, but when you read it, you just can picture it in a different way because you are that little boy, stocking cans in a grocery store and seeing this rich dad meet with all his team members in some small little cabin in Hawaii. So you've experienced it, I think, at a different level. And so that's part of why I really wanted to write it this way, as well as being inspired by Patrick Lencioni. And if ever any of you have never read any of his books, they are incredible and also written as a fable. So they're very fun because you can literally visualize the story as it's going on.
So if I can summarize, Life on Your Terms is really about reaching that broader audience, getting that information out there so that everybody can benefit.
Yeah, and in a really easy way that they can read in a couple hours and then walk away with a lot of actionable items, which is really our core promise to you always is we will give you information you can actually use that's not fluff and not theory, but actually proven practical information. And so that's what we really put into this book is a lot of information that a person off the street can read it, not know anything about real estate, but really have a pretty clear vision by the time that they're done of how exactly to build and even scale a portfolio.
Now, can you explain the significance of the title Life on Your Terms?
So when you think about what financial freedom really is, it's more about time freedom and also just the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. That's the freedom of getting to control your own life, which I think a lot of us lose when we're busy physicians in the hospital, feeling like all these things are being dictated to us. And so life on your terms is really about crafting your own vision for what you want your life to be and then going out and doing it. So who we dedicated this book to was really physicians working in the trenches, and also to dreamers who have a vision for their lives and then go out and take the action and execute and actually make it happen. So that's what this really is about, is envisioning this life that you want and then going out and making it reality. And that's what this book is about.
And what we really want people to get out of this book is to realize that you really can live life on your terms, not somebody else's term. And I think if you think about medical training, the path is so clearly laid out in front of you that ultimately it starts to feel like it's somebody else's life that you're living and not yours. And so even if one person has that realization and creates their life on their terms, then this book will have been well worth writing.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. What do you think the most critical takeaways are that you want the readers to gain from reading this book?
So, one of the most critical takeaways from this book is how important mindset is to your success.
Yeah, and I don't think most people are probably surprised to hear that if you've been listening to this podcast at all. But what we really did with this book is put the heroes through a lot of challenging scenarios. We threw in a scenario that we have actually faced with having squatters in a duplex that we actually were going to live in, put that in there. We put a couple other challenges that have arisen over the years in our community. And we got to see our heroes really work through and get that mindset, even though they had periods where they were doubting themselves and they were fearful. They, in the end, were able to say some of those things and change their focus and be able to come out of those experiencing saying the obstacles and the challenges I'm facing are making me stronger, and come out and be victorious at the end, having gotten through all of those scenarios.
Another big takeaway from the book is that it is possible for you to do this while you are working full time as a doctor.
Yeah. And so what we did with this book is we have two couples. One is a couple of dual physician couple who decide that real estate investing is the way that they're going to create this other source of income. One person scales back, gets real estate professional. They do add a short-term rental down the road, but they do this while one person's working full-time and the other one is still working as a physician, and they go out and they build this portfolio. And on the other side, we have a physician and a non-physician, and they just decide to go the traditional route, working harder, investing in their 401k, and we get to see what happens in their journey along the road over 5 years.
And then another important takeaway is community and how important it is to your success.
Yeah, and for that one, we made sure there were some naysayers in the book, which is what all of us have as doctors going out and investing in real estate, whether it's our family, it's our close friends. There's going to be a lot of naysayers around you who are saying, hey, real estate's risky. Do you really want to do this? Shouldn't you only be doing medicine? And so we made sure there were a lot of naysayers in putting up barriers for our heroes when first starting out. And then we made sure that they found their community of other people just like them investing in real estate, and that they learned from that community, and that community helped them get through those difficult times, just like our community does that for each other. And so for everyone who's been in our community for some time, you're going to be able to see those parallels of how important community is, and then some of the scenarios that they go through and how the community helps them.
So here's another question. Let's talk about doctors' well-being and how this book addresses this issue.
So one of the things that I really thought long and hard about including in this book is that Kenji and I had a situation where we lost two of our physician colleagues to suicide. And I thought about whether or not we should include that in this book, but it seems so important because it is so much of the reality of being a physician nowadays. Many of us experience this kind of really horrible tragedy working in the hospital and losing our colleagues. And so I wanted to make sure that we addressed it in the book, and we talked about how physicians really feel like they don't have a whole lot of control. They feel like they don't have a lot of choice, and they don't have an ability to kind of dictate how they want their lives to be. And of course, we're showing through real estate how you can actually get that financial choice, but also to reinforce how much of it is actually right now, even without doing real estate, you have choices and you have the ability to pivot if you're not happy, if you're in that situation, and also to provide some resources for people in the book. So underlying this whole book is the understanding of what physicians have been going through over the last 10, 15, 20 years and the current state of medicine, and also understanding that physicians do have choices. Whether or not you invest in real estate, that's not the point. The point is that you do have choices and you can change this course and outcome of your life. If you're not happy, please do so.
Yeah, and this really just emphasizes that title again, that you can live life on your terms.
And again, you don't have to invest in real estate to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot more choice in what we're doing every day than you may actually initially realize.
So let's shift gears and talk not about the book, but about this book in the context of all the other books out there. How does this book differ from the other financial books out there?
Well, hopefully it's a little bit more fun to read since it was written as a fable, and it's got some cool characters who go through some very interesting challenges. The other major differing point is that it's very specific to doctors and high income earners. So it talks about a lot of the challenges that we face in this position. You know, it's not necessarily a challenge to get a residential loan, but it definitely is a challenge, all the taxes that we are struggling underneath, and how do we go out and shelter our income from W-2 our W-2 income from taxes? What are some of the strategies we can use? How can we be in a situation where we surround ourselves with a really great community that does support us, rather than be in a situation where we're in a hospital and we're being told very clearly the only thing you should be interested in is being a doctor. If you have any other outside interests, that's not good. So really, this is catered towards doctors. It's very much about the challenges that we specifically have that's different from a lot of the rest of the world out there who are bootstrapper real estate investors. It talks a lot about asset protection as well, because I know that's a really big interest of all of us, is making sure we protect the assets we have, and then also the assets that we build up in our real estate as well. So it's a differing viewpoint, and then it's also written in a very different way than you'll find in most financial books.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's a really unique perspective to focus on high income earners and the different challenges they face. From the outside looking in, a lot of people would say, well, they don't have a lot of needs, they earn a lot of money. What problems do they have? But the truth of the matter is, I mean, you have to be a high income earner to really understand what those challenges are. And it starts with having super high student loans, right? From all of the education that we go through, and also starting at such a late age because we've been going through training for so long, making so little money until now. So, some of my friends who have been making money since they were age 22, graduating from college, they've been making over six figures. But certainly that wasn't the case for us. It was until until we were like late 20s or 30s before we started making money.
Yeah. And I'm so happy you brought up both of those scenarios, because it's actually in the book. We talk about student loans and whether or not to pay off student loans or invest in real estate to pay off student loans. So I tried to really interweave a lot of the challenges, a lot of the concerns that a lot of people have out there when they're first starting thinking about investing in real estate, and make sure they are addressed through the book. So you guys will literally see yourselves in some of the stories, because you will have thought a lot of these same things when you first started out, or even now, if you haven't bought a property or two, you are thinking these same things in your mind. And how do we know? Because we've talked to thousands and thousands of people who have been in this situation, doctors, dual physician couples like us, who have been wondering, is real estate investing right for me? Do I have enough time? Do I have enough money? What happens? How do I manage this with all that I have going in the clinic or in the hospital? And so I made sure to put all of that into this book as well.
Now let's talk about the profits of the book, because there are going to be a lot of books sold.
Yes, that's right. There is. um, so all of the profits of the book are going to our nonprofit organization. It's called the Doctors Legacy Building Foundation. And our foundation is really focused on helping underserved communities get financial literacy. As many of you know, Kenji and I are very passionate about teaching people to fish for themselves. We love training people and giving them skills that they can have for a lifetime. So they always know how to make money. So they have that confidence. So nobody's doing it for them, and they don't ever feel like it can be taken away, or they don't really fully understand it. And even better is when we see them pass these same knowledge and skills down to their kids. So we know that next generation now knows how to fish, now knows how to make money using real estate, so they can do any job that they want, because they're never going to need to work on a day job for money. It's going to be able to be a choice. It's going to be able that they're going to live life on their terms. And so that's what our foundation is all about. It's about underserved communities getting financial literacy so they're empowered, and so they're able to make great financial decisions for themselves and set themselves and their children up for financial stability and growth, and to be able to live better lives than their parents did or that they have so far.
Now, the final question from our team is, what are some questions or misconceptions that people have who are thinking about going down this journey, and how does the book address them?
So a lot of times when we're talking about real estate investing to doctors and high income earners, they have a lot of the same fears about not having enough time, not having enough resources, not having the knowledge. And this book really talks about all of those, because our heroes start out really concerned about the same things. They worry about how, as a dual physician couple, they're going to fit real estate investing in. They worry that they don't have enough money. They only have a certain amount of savings. Like, how are they going to build up a portfolio that actually makes a difference? They worry that they're not going to be able to do it. that they specifically aren't going to have the skills, or that they're going to somehow fail and they're going to screw things up. This is the same thing that a lot of people in our community have, a lot of the reasons that hold people back. And so you see our heroes grappling with this, talking about it. You see them going to the community when they're nervous, when they have an inspection and it shows a bunch of things and they're like, what do I make of this? Should I be pulling out of this deal? And so you see the same fears that you probably have right now about investing in real estate, you see it mirrored in their experience. And again, I made sure to throw in a lot of extra challenges so you have that opportunity to be able to see all the possible things that could go wrong. So you're a lot less fearful about real estate investing because you've seen these scenarios now work out. And then lastly, I put in some examples from our own community of people who've had a lot of success investing in real estate. And so you'll be able to see some real life examples of inspiration for you in knowing where you are now, which is maybe knowing nothing about real estate. Maybe you own a property or two. I know a lot of you are accidental landlords out there. You'll be able to see that journey, how it's possible, both through our stories of our heroes, but also through the stories that we included in the book of real life people who have done exactly what you want to, which is build another source of income, have enough money coming in so that they can work in medicine on their terms and live life on their terms.
Well, that sounds amazing. I think I need to go run out and buy this book and read it right now.
Yeah, that's right. He hasn't even read the book.
It's a secret though. Only the people listening to this podcast know that.
Okay, so Life on Your Terms is coming out October 24th, and you can buy it for 99 cents during the sales week. And if it's after October 24th, when you're hearing this and you missed that 99-cent sale, make sure you buy the book. Please leave us a review. It's really going to help us be able to get this book out to everyone who needs to hear that real estate investing is possible for them, possible for high income earners, possible for doctors, even busy doctors, which we all are. And just please spread the word. Maybe share it with a friend as a random gift, bring it into the hospital. Any support you can get in getting this out to as many people as possible so people can start to see it's possible for them. This really is our passion. It's a movement to help physicians take back control of their lives and be able to live lives they love and not feel stuck and not feel like they don't have other options. And that's what this book is about. So everyone you can help get this book in front of, it's really going to help spread that message and help people become free and not feel like they're stuck anymore, which is really an incredible thing, I think, for medical culture, is when doctors become free. So thank you all for your support. And thank you for listening to this podcast full of secrets and full of big reveals. Like Kenji hasn't even read the book. Thank you for joining us.